The sky over New Avalon was a burning red, the sun hidden behind thick clouds of smoke and ash. Once a shining city of human achievement, New Avalon now lay in ruins. Towers that had touched the clouds were nothing more than jagged skeletons. Streets once full of laughter and life were now littered with debris and the remnants of human dreams. Ethan crouched behind the broken wall of what had once been a hospital. His uniform was torn, stained with dirt and blood. The mission had gone horribly wrong. His squad, the best humans in the city, had been ambushed by the Zephyrians. The aliens had come from the sky, sleek and terrible, their ships faster than anything humans had built. They were not just invaders, they were hunters, precise and cruel in a way that humans could not match. Ethan's side throbbed with pain. A sharp sting reminded him that his leg was broken. His vision blurred. He tried to stay quiet, his ears straining for the sound of movement. Somewhere in the distance, a Zephyrian patrol passed, their strange, low humming sound sending shivers down his spine. "They're everywhere," he whispered to himself. "They'll take the city, and I can't stop them like this." He tried to move, but his body refused. Every breath was heavy, and every heartbeat felt like it might be the last. The world seemed to spin, colors blending into one another. Ethan closed his eyes, expecting death to take him there in the ruins of his home. But then a light appeared in the sky. At first it was small, barely more than a flicker. Then it grew, glowing brighter, cutting through the smoke and ash. Ethan blinked, shielding his eyes. It was unlike any human technology he had ever seen. The light moved with purpose, descending toward the ruins. From the glow emerged a being. Its form was tall and elegant, almost humanoid, but different. Its skin shimmered faintly like polished silver under sunlight. The most striking feature was the long glowing tail that trailed behind it, swaying as if alive. The light from the tail was warm, almost comforting, yet there was power in it, a raw, undeniable force. Ethan could barely speak. What are you?" The being knelt beside him. Its eyes glowed softly, deep pools of light that seemed to see into his very soul. "I am Liara," it said, voice melodic, almost echoing in Ethan's mind rather than his ears. "You are dying. I can save you." Ethan shook his head weakly. I don't know if I can survive." Liara's tail moved closer, wrapping gently around his neck. It did not hurt, but a strange warmth spread through him. His body stiffened, then relaxed as if tension and pain were being drawn out. "You will survive," Liara said. "But you must understand. You will not remain as you are. You will not be fully human again." Fear gripped him. "What do you mean?" "Your body will change," Liara explained. "You will gain strength, senses beyond human limits, but the world will see you differently. You will see yourself differently." Ethan's mind raced. The thought of losing his humanity was terrifying, but the thought of dying here alone was worse. He looked around at the ruins, at the sky darkened with smoke, at the silence that screamed louder than any gunfire. Survival seemed like the only choice. I trust you," he whispered. Liara's tail glowed brighter, and a sensation like liquid fire spread through his veins. Ethan gasped. Pain shot through his body, sharp and intense, yet it carried with it a strange clarity. Memories of his childhood, of his friends, of his family, and of the city he had sworn to protect, all seemed to rush through him in a single moment. Then, everything went black. When Ethan opened his eyes again, he was no longer in the ruins. The sky was different, clear, shimmering with colors he had never seen. The air was crisp, carrying scents of flowers, metal, and something unfamiliar yet comforting. He felt different, stronger yet lighter. He looked down and saw subtle changes in his body. His arms and legs moved more fluidly, muscles coiled like springs ready to strike. A faint glow traced the edges of his skin. Liara stood before him, her tail still glowing, a ribbon of light against the strange sky. "You are awake," she said. The transformation is beginning. Ethan flexed his fingers, then his legs. He moved effortlessly, faster than he thought possible, but as he looked in a nearby pool of water, he saw himself. His face was the same, yet different. There was something alien about his eyes, a depth that had not been there before. A faint, ethereal glow emanated from his skin. He touched his face. It was real. He was alive, but not the same. I feel, Ethan began, searching for words. I feel stronger, faster, but not me. You are still you, Liara said gently. Your mind, your courage, your heart, they remain human, but your body will be more. This is the way humans survive now. Evolution is not always slow. Sometimes it is immediate. Ethan looked around. The landscape shimmered, alien yet beautiful. Strange plants waved gently, and creatures with forms he could barely comprehend moved in the distance. Where am I? He asked. Not far from your world, Liara explained. I brought you here to heal, to prepare. The Zephyrians will not stop. They will come for you, for your people. But now you have a chance to fight back. Ethan tried to stand fully, testing his strength. He moved faster than ever before, but his mind felt sharper too, able to calculate and react almost instantly. I can help my people, he said, hope rising like a fire in his chest. Liara nodded. Yes. But first you must understand what it means to be more than human. Your body will continue to change. Your senses will grow. You will feel things no human has felt before. Pain, joy, anger, fear, all amplified. And with that power comes responsibility. Ethan took a deep breath. He thought of New Avalon, of the families hiding in the ruins, of the children who would never know peace if the Zephyrians were left unchecked. He felt fear, yes, but also something stronger, determination. I accept, he said. Teach me. Liara extended her hand, her tail wrapping around his arm gently. Then we begin. For the first time in days, Ethan felt warmth in his chest. He was alive. Not fully human, not fully alien, but something new, something capable of hope. Above, the sky of the alien world shifted, stars appearing in patterns he had never imagined. Liara's glow illuminated the landscape, showing paths, mountains, rivers of light, and creatures of impossible beauty. The path ahead will be difficult, she said. The Zephyrians are patient hunters, they will not stop, but neither will you if you learn. Ethan nodded, a fire burning in his new eyes. Pain, loss, and fear were still there, but beneath it all, courage and determination thrummed like a drumbeat in his chest. He had been given a second chance, a chance to fight back, not as a mere human, but as something greater. And as he followed Liara into the glowing landscape, he understood that survival was not enough. To protect humanity, he would have to change, and accept that his humanity might never be the same again. The ruins of New Avalon were left behind, but hope, faint, yet undeniable, began to grow. Ethan awoke to a soft, glowing light. The alien world around him was quiet, yet alive. Strange plants swayed even though there was no wind, and creatures with iridescent skin moved gracefully in the distance. His body no longer throbbed with pain, but a faint hum of energy pulsed through him, as if the world itself had awakened something inside him. Liara sat nearby, her glowing tail wrapped lightly around her legs. Her eyes, luminous and calm, followed his every movement. You slept longer than expected, she said. The transformation requires more than strength. It requires patience. Ethan rubbed his face, still adjusting to his new form. I feel strange. Everything is sharper. I can see so far. I can hear things I shouldn't hear. It's overwhelming. That is to be expected, Liara said. Your senses are expanding faster than human limits allow. You will adapt, but it will take time. You must learn to control what you can feel, see, and hear. Otherwise, the power will consume you. Ethan swung his legs over the edge of the glowing stone where he had been resting. He felt light, almost weightless, yet powerful. His muscles moved with an efficiency he had never known. I can run already, he said, testing himself. Faster than I ever could as a human. Liara nodded. Yes, and this is just the beginning. Your body will continue to evolve. You will not be fully human anymore, but that is not a weakness. It is the key to survival. Ethan looked around the strange landscape, his new eyes picking up subtle movements. A shimmering creature resting in a pool of light, small flying beings moving like silver ribbons through the air. I feel like I belong here, he admitted, almost whispering. But my people are back there, in danger. Liara's tail moved closer, glowing softly. You are alive because of them, because of your desire to protect. But to protect your people, you must first learn who you are now. You must understand the power you hold and how to use it wisely. Ethan nodded. Then teach me. Liara rose, her tall figure luminous and graceful. We begin with perception. Close your eyes. Ethan obeyed, unsure what to expect. A second later, a wave of sensations hit him. He could feel the pulse of the land beneath him, the heartbeat of the creatures in the distance, even the faint energy that surrounded Liara. His mind struggled to process it all at once. This is too much, he whispered. I can't focus, Liara said. Do not fight it. Flow with it. Your body can handle more than your mind believes. Trust yourself. Ethan took a deep breath and forced his mind to calm. Slowly, he felt the waves of energy settle, not vanish but align with his thoughts. He could feel Liara's presence like a warm anchor guiding him. When he opened his eyes, the world looked different. Colors were brighter, edges sharper, and he could sense life all around him. He was no longer just seeing, he was perceiving. This is incredible, he murmured. I can feel everything. The plants, the animals, even you. Liara smiled faintly. And soon, you will be able to do more than feel. You will move faster than sight allows, strike with precision beyond human skill, and think with clarity that surpasses your former limits. But remember this, power is not enough. Strength alone does not make a hero. Courage, compassion, and wisdom do. Ethan absorbed her words, letting them settle in his mind. He had always thought of courage as running into danger, facing the enemy head-on. But now he realized that courage also meant accepting change, trusting something beyond himself, and facing the unknown without fear. Liara stepped back. Now, we train your body. You will run, leap, and fight in ways your human body could never manage. But you must remain in control at all times. Fear and anger will weaken you. Calm and focus will strengthen you. Ethan followed her to a wide plain, glowing softly under the alien sky. He flexed his new muscles, feeling the power ready to surge through him. Liara raised her hands, and small orbs of light appeared, floating in the air. Move, she said, simply. Without thinking, Ethan sprinted. His body moved with fluid grace faster than any human could. He leapt over glowing rocks, dodged falling debris, and landed without a sound. His tail, which he had not noticed before, moved behind him instinctively, balancing him with precision. Liara watched him closely. Good. Now again, but with awareness. Every movement you make must be conscious, controlled. Speed without thought is danger. Ethan nodded, pushing himself harder. His legs moved in perfect harmony with his body. Every leap and turn calculated instinctively. He realized that he could feel the air, the vibrations in the ground, the presence of creatures hidden behind foliage. He had become more than human, not just in strength but in perception. After hours of training, Ethan collapsed on the glowing grass, breathing heavily but exhilarated. Liara sat beside him, her tail coiling gently. You have made great progress, but the final lesson today is understanding fear. Power without control is useless if you are ruled by fear. Ethan's brow furrowed. Fear? I've faced death already. What could frighten me now? Liara's glow dimmed slightly, her eyes serious. Fear is not only about life and death, it is about losing yourself. Losing those you care for, failing when it matters most. You must face it, not avoid it. Come. She led him to a cliff overlooking a dark chasm. Strange winds blew, carrying whispers he could almost understand. Shadows moved in patterns that made his skin crawl. Step forward, she instructed. Ethan hesitated, looking down into the darkness. Every instinct screamed to pull back, to retreat to safety. But he remembered the city, his people, the children hiding in ruins. And he remembered the warmth of Liara's guidance. He stepped forward. The ground seemed to shift beneath him, illusions of twisting shadows and screaming faces forming. Panic rose, but Ethan forced himself to focus. He slowed his breathing, tuned into the pulse of the land, the steady heartbeat of life around him. Slowly, the illusions faded, leaving only the solid earth beneath his feet. Liara's tail brushed his arm. You faced fear and you survived. That is the first true step toward mastery. Ethan felt a surge of confidence. He realized that while his body had changed, his heart remained human. Courage, he understood now, was not about being unafraid. It was about moving forward despite fear. For the next days, he trained relentlessly. Liara taught him to strike with precision, to move silently, to use his enhanced senses to detect danger long before it arrived. Ethan learned to listen to the rhythm of the land, to anticipate the movements of creatures and even to sense the emotions of other beings nearby. Each lesson tested his body, mind, and heart. And all the while, the thought of his people kept him grounded. He was no longer fully human, but his desire to protect humanity had not diminished. In fact, it had grown stronger, fueled by the new power coursing through him. One evening, as the alien sun dipped below the horizon, Ethan stood atop a glowing hill, looking back at the training grounds. His tail glowed faintly behind him, a reminder of his new form. Liara approached silently, her eyes reflecting the dying light. You are ready, she said. Soon, the Zephyrians will come for you. They will not expect a human who is more than human. You have learned to see, to move, and to fight. But remember, your greatest strength is not your body. It is your will, your determination, your choice to act when others would despair. Ethan nodded, feeling a mixture of excitement and apprehension. The world he knew was gone, but a new path had opened. He had been given a second chance, one that came with a cost, but also with immense potential. I will protect them, he said firmly. I will protect my people even if I am no longer fully human, even if I am alone in this form. Liara's tail wrapped lightly around his shoulders, a gesture of encouragement. You are not alone, Ethan. You never were. And soon you will learn that being more than human does not mean losing yourself. It means finding the courage to shape the future. As darkness fell over the alien landscape, Ethan felt a strange peace. Fear and uncertainty still lingered, but beneath it all, determination burned brighter than ever. He had survived the fall of humanity once. Now, with Liara's guidance and his newfound abilities, he would rise again, not just as a human, but as something greater. The journey had only begun. The Zephyrians waited, and Ethan was ready. Ethan woke to a world bathed in pale silver light. The alien sun hung low over the horizon, casting long, strange shadows across the land. His senses had grown even sharper overnight. Every sound, every movement, every pulse of life around him felt amplified. He could hear the hum of the glowing plants, the faint whispers of distant creatures, and even the subtle rhythm of Liara's breathing. He rose slowly, flexing his new limbs. His tail, now glowing with a steady light, shifted naturally behind him. He was aware of every muscle, every tendon, every heartbeat within his body. Ethan's reflection in a pool of glowing water showed a figure both familiar and strange. His eyes, brighter and more focused, reflected determination, but his features carried the elegance of his alien transformation. Liara emerged from the trees, her tail brushing the ground with a soft hum. "You slept longer than expected," she said. "The changes are progressing faster than I predicted." Ethan studied her carefully. "Faster? What do you mean?" "You are adjusting to your new form quickly. Your strength, speed, and senses continue to increase. But your mind must keep pace with your body. Otherwise, your power will overwhelm you, and you risk losing control." Ethan swallowed, feeling the weight of her words. He had survived countless battles, but this was different. He was no longer just a soldier. He was becoming something more, something neither fully human nor fully alien. The thought both thrilled and frightened him. Liara moved closer, her eyes glowing gently. "Today you will face the first test. Not against a creature, not against the Zephyrians, but against yourself." Ethan frowned. "Myself? What do you mean?" "Your body has changed, yes, but your mind is still human. Fear, doubt, anger, they linger. To survive and protect, you must learn to control them. Only then will your transformation be complete." Ethan took a deep breath and followed her to a clearing where the air shimmered with an unusual energy. Liara's tail traced patterns in the air, and the ground glowed softly beneath them. "Close your eyes," she instructed. Reluctantly, Ethan obeyed. A moment later, he felt the energy of the clearing wrap around him. Visions exploded in his mind. Visions of the city, of his fallen friends, of children hiding in ruined buildings. Waves of guilt and sorrow threatened to consume him. "Face it," Liara's voice echoed in his mind. "Do not run from your fear, Ethan. Do not deny your pain. Only by accepting it can you control it." Ethan's knees shook, his heart raced. He could feel the sorrow of his people, the weight of his failures, the fear of losing everyone he cared about. He wanted to collapse, to let the visions swallow him whole. But then, a small voice inside him reminded him of why he had survived. For them, for New Avalon, for hope. He steadied his breathing, focusing on the warmth in Liara's presence. Slowly, he reached into the flood of emotions and grasped control. The visions faded, replaced by clarity. He felt the strength in his body, the heightened awareness and the pulse of energy around him. "You see now," Liara said softly. "Power is meaningless without control. You are stronger than you believe, Ethan. Your transformation is not just physical, it is the growth of your mind, your heart, and your will." Ethan opened his eyes, the clearing now calm and bright. He felt renewed, ready for the challenges ahead. "I understand," he said. "I won't let fear control me." Liara's tail curled around his arm in a gesture of approval. "Good. Now we begin training in combat. You will fight with precision, speed, and awareness. Remember what you learned. Control your mind, control your fear, and your power will follow." The next hours passed in a blur. Ethan moved faster than he ever could as a human, leaping and striking with perfect timing. Liara summoned holographic creatures that mimicked Zephyrian combat styles. Ethan dodged, countered, and adapted with astonishing skill. His tail moved instinctively, balancing him, deflecting attacks, and even aiding his strikes. With each session, he felt the changes in his body intensify. His muscles rippled with new strength, his reflexes sharpened to near perfection, and his senses expanded to perceive subtle threats. Yet the most important growth was internal. Ethan began to understand the balance between power and restraint, aggression and strategy, fear and courage. After a particularly intense session, he collapsed onto the glowing grass, gasping for air. Liara hovered above him, her tail glowing faintly. "You have improved greatly, but tomorrow you will face a different test, one that will challenge your humanity." Ethan's brow furrowed. "Humanity? What do you mean?" "You have survived physically and mentally, but the Zephyrians will not fight fairly. They will exploit weakness. They will tempt you with rage, fear, and despair. You must recognize the line between human and something more. You will have power, yes, but that power must be guided by your heart, not your anger. Ethan nodded, though a part of him worried. He had always been human first, emotional, flawed, passionate. Could he still hold on to that part of himself while embracing his new form? Night fell over the alien world, the sky a tapestry of unfamiliar stars. Ethan sat quietly, feeling the subtle vibrations of the land beneath him. He thought of New Avalon, of the families hiding, the children frightened, the friends he had lost. The thought of returning to them to help them survive filled him with both determination and anxiety. Liara settled beside him, her tail wrapping gently around his shoulders. "You wonder if you will still be human," she said. "The answer is yes in the ways that matter. Your choices, your courage, your compassion, these define humanity, not your form. The rest is evolution, necessary for survival." Ethan looked at her, absorbing her words. He realized that the cost of survival was not just strength or speed. It was wisdom, control, and the ability to act even when fear and loss pressed against him. The following day, Liara led him to a cliffside overlooking a vast valley. Strange creatures moved below, and Ethan sensed life in every shadow, every ripple, every gust of wind. "Today you will face your first Zephyrian challenge," she said. Ethan's pulse quickened. "Already? Are you sure I'm ready?" "You are more ready than you think," Liara said. "But readiness is not enough. You must trust yourself, you must trust your instincts, and you must remember the lessons you have learned, the control, the courage, the heart." From the shadows, a Zephyrian scout appeared. Sleek, armored, and fast, it lunged toward Ethan with blinding speed. The human part of him would have panicked, but now he moved with calm precision. He dodged, countered, and used his tail to trip and disarm the alien. The fight lasted only minutes, but it tested every skill he had learned. When the creature finally retreated, Ethan stood panting, adrenaline coursing through his veins. Liara approached, her eyes bright with approval. "You have done well, not because you defeated it, but because you controlled yourself. You did not act on fear or anger. You acted with intent and purpose. That is the mark of one who has begun to transcend humanity, yet retains its heart." Ethan felt a surge of pride. He realized that he could be more than human without losing the core of who he was. The transformation was not a loss. It was a gift, a tool to protect, to survive, and to lead. As the sun set, casting long shadows across the alien valley, Ethan stood tall, his tail glowing faintly behind him. He knew challenges lay ahead. Zephyrians would not stop, and his people still needed him. But for the first time, he felt ready. He had faced fear, embraced change, and learned to control the extraordinary power within him. Liara's glow dimmed, softly beside him. "Tomorrow we train for strategy, for leadership. You are becoming more than a soldier, Ethan. You are becoming a beacon of hope. Remember that power is only meaningful when guided by the heart. The Zephyrians will soon test that lesson." Ethan nodded. He felt the weight of responsibility, but it did not crush him. Instead, it strengthened his resolve. He was no longer just a man. He was a warrior, a protector, and something greater. And he would use his new form to ensure that humanity, not just the weak, frightened humans of New Avalon, but the enduring spirit of humanity, would survive. As night blanketed the valley, Ethan trained alone, testing his new abilities, running faster, sensing farther, and striking with precision. Each movement brought him closer to mastering his new form. Each breath reminded him why he fought: to protect, to endure, to rise above the limits that had once bound him. And as the stars shimmered above, he whispered quietly, to himself and to the world he hoped to save: "I may not be fully human anymore, but I will fight. I will survive, and I will protect them all." The sky over New Avalon was darker than ever. Thick smoke rose from the ruins, and Zephyrian ships hovered above like silent predators. The humans who had survived hid in basements, tunnels, and collapsed buildings. Food was scarce. Water was Harder to find, and hope was almost gone. But one man was returning. Not the same man who had fallen weeks ago, broken and dying in the streets. Ethan walked with strength now, his steps silent, his senses sharp. The glowing tail behind him swayed with control, a reminder of the choice he had made. Beside him was Liara, her light steady, her presence calm. Together they moved through the shattered streets, keeping to the shadows. Ethan could feel every sound, every vibration. His new senses told him where Zephyrian patrols were even before he saw them. "They have tightened their grip," Ethan whispered, his eyes narrowing at the alien machines scanning the streets. "But humans are still alive. I can feel them." Liara nodded. "Yes, they hide, but they do not surrender. That is why I saved you, Ethan. Humans may break, but they do not stop. That is rare, even among the stars." Ethan clenched his fists. "Then we'll give them a reason to rise again." They moved deeper into the ruins until Ethan sensed movement beneath the ground. Carefully, he tapped on a broken metal hatch. After a pause, it opened slowly, and a group of tired, frightened faces looked out. Guns were raised instantly. "Stay back," one of them hissed. Ethan stepped into the dim light. The glow from his body and tail made the survivors gasp. Some screamed, some trembled, others stared in disbelief. "It's me," Ethan said quickly, raising his hands. "It's Ethan Hayes, from the 12th Defense Squad." There was silence. Then a voice from the crowd whispered, "Ethan, but you're different." "I'm still me," Ethan said firmly. "I survived because of her." He gestured to Liara, who stayed back, her glowing form gentle but unthreatening. "I know I don't look the same. I'm not fully human anymore. But I'm here to help you fight," the survivors whispered among themselves. Fear and doubt filled their eyes. Finally, a young woman stepped forward. She was thin, her face pale, but her eyes burned with determination. "If you're really Ethan, prove it." What was the last thing Captain Reyes said before he died? Ethan's chest tightened. Memories of that night flooded back, the ambush, the screams, the fire. He swallowed hard. "He told me, protect them. Protect the children, no matter what happens." The woman's eyes softened, and slowly, the weapons lowered. "It is you," she whispered. Relief spread through the group, though fear still lingered. Ethan moved among them, listening to their stories. Families torn apart, friends lost, days of hiding, running, surviving with almost nothing. He clenched his fists. "It ends now. We're going to fight back, not just survive. Fight." A man shook his head. "Fight back? With what? We don't have weapons. We don't have ships. We don't have anything. You have me," Ethan said. His voice carried strength, confidence. His glowing tail lit the faces of the survivors, who looked at him with awe and disbelief. "I may not be the same as before, but I can fight the Zephyrians, and with your help we can strike where they don't expect it." Liara stepped forward, her voice calm and clear. "Humans are stronger together. Ethan has power, yes, but he cannot do this alone. You must believe in yourselves again. You must rise." Slowly, hope began to stir in the group. It was small, fragile, but it was there. That night, Ethan led the survivors through training. They had old rifles, knives, even makeshift weapons, but what mattered most was unity. Ethan showed them how to move silently, how to listen to vibrations, how to watch for Zephyrian patrols. His senses guided them, teaching them skills no human had known before. The survivors were clumsy at first, but determination burned in them. Children who had once cried in fear now watched with wide eyes as Ethan moved faster than sight, dodging, striking, and standing tall. For the first time in weeks, they saw strength again. The next day, Ethan led their first mission. A Zephyrian energy station powered the patrols in the area. Destroying it would cripple their control. The group moved under the cover of darkness, guided by Ethan's senses. He could feel the patrols, the humming of alien machines, the rhythm of the land itself. When they reached the station, Ethan moved first. His tail glowed brightly, striking like a whip, shattering Zephyrian weapons. His speed left the aliens, disoriented, and his precision brought them down one by one. Behind him, the survivors fought with renewed strength, following his lead, striking with courage they thought they had lost. The energy station fell in flames. For the first time, humans had struck back and won. As they retreated into the ruins, the survivors cheered softly, their fear replaced by something they had not felt in a long time. Hope. Ethan stood at the center, breathing heavily, but his eyes glowed with determination. He looked at the faces of the people around him, tired, broken, yet alive. And he realized something. His transformation was not a curse. It was a gift. A chance for humanity to rise again. Later that night, as the survivors rested in the tunnels, Ethan stood watch beside Liara. The city above was still dangerous, but tonight, the humans had reminded the Zephyrians that Earth would not fall so easily. "You see now," Liara said quietly. "Your people look at you with hope. You are more than human in form, but in spirit, you are what they need most." Ethan nodded slowly. "I thought I'd lost myself, but now, I think I've found a new purpose. Maybe I wasn't saved just to live. Maybe I was saved to lead." Liara's tail brushed his shoulder lightly. "Perhaps. Leadership is not easy, Ethan. The path will be hard, but your people are stronger than they believe. Together, you can do more than survive. You can win." Ethan looked out at the ruined city, his eyes narrowing. "Then we'll fight. Not just for New Avalon, but for all of humanity. I don't care what I've become. If it means saving them, I'll embrace it." In the distance, Zephyrian ships hummed across the night sky, searching for rebels. But deep in the ruins, a spark had been lit. Humans, fragile yet unbroken, were rising again. Ethan's glowing tail swayed behind him, a symbol of something new. Not just alien power, but human determination. The fight was only beginning, but for the first time, it was a fight humanity could win. Ethan stood at the edge of the cliff overlooking the ruined city of New Avalon. The air smelled of ash and metal, yet beneath the destruction, he could sense life. Humans hiding, creatures surviving, and the faint pulse of hope lingering like a heartbeat in the world. His glowing tail swayed slowly behind him, a symbol of the power he now held. Liara stood beside him, her eyes scanning the horizon. "The Zephyrians are approaching," she said quietly. "They know you survived. They will come for you, and they will come for your people." Ethan clenched his fists. "Then we make our stand. We fight, not just to survive, but to show that humanity is stronger than they believe." Liara's tail wrapped lightly around his shoulders. "Remember, Ethan, strength is not only in your power, it is in your choices. Protect them, but do not lose yourself in the fight." The ground shook as the first Zephyrian scouts appeared, sleek and deadly, their eyes glowing with cold intelligence. Humans who had survived peeked from hiding, fear clear on their faces. They were tired, battered, and desperate. But when they saw Ethan, their hope flickered again. Ethan stepped forward. "Stay behind me," he said firmly. "We fight together. Today, humanity will not fall." With a swift motion, his tail shot out, knocking two Zephyrian scouts off balance before they could strike. Ethan moved faster than sight, dodging energy, blasts and striking with precision. Each movement was fluid, controlled, and terrifyingly effective. Humans around him watched in awe as he protected them, his glowing form a beacon in the ruined city. Liara hovered nearby, guiding him, her tail brushing the air as if weaving a protective shield. "You have learned well," she said. "But this is only the beginning. They will not give up so easily." The battle intensified. Zephyrians poured into the city, their weapons cutting through rubble and fire. Ethan's senses expanded. He could anticipate their movements before they acted. His tail deflected attacks, His speed kept him ahead of danger, and his strength allowed him to shield humans from harm. Yet, amidst the chaos, Ethan noticed the fear in the eyes of the people he protected. He realized that power alone was not enough. They needed inspiration, courage, and the will to fight. He shouted, "Hold your ground! We will not give up! We are human, and we survive together!" The words ignited something within the survivors. Mothers lifted children from hiding. Soldiers and civilians alike took up arms, and together, they formed a line against the Zephyrians. Ethan moved among them, guiding, protecting, and encouraging. His presence reminded them that humanity was not defined by weakness but by resilience and unity. Hours passed like moments. Ethan fought tirelessly, his glowing form cutting through the battlefield with precision. Yet he did not forget the lesson Liara had taught him: control. Rage or fear could not guide him, only purpose could. He struck with careful calculation, protecting lives rather than destroying indiscriminately. Finally, the Zephyrians began to retreat. They had underestimated humans, and they had underestimated Ethan. Though the survivors were exhausted, battered, and frightened, they had survived. Hope had returned to New Avalon. Ethan stood amid the ruins, breathing heavily. His body hummed with energy, his tail glowing faintly as he surveyed the city. He saw humans emerging from hiding, embracing one another, and beginning to rebuild. A smile crossed his face, not because the battle was over, but because the human spirit had endured. Liara landed beside him. "You have done well, Ethan," she said. "You have shown them what humanity can be when it embraces change, courage, and hope. You are no longer just human, but you are still their protector." Ethan nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle comfortably on his shoulders. "I am not alone," he said softly. "They fight too. Together we are stronger." Liara's tail wrapped around his arm. "This is only the beginning. The Zephyrians will return, and humanity must be ready. But today you have given them a chance to rise, to evolve, and to protect themselves. That is your true victory." Over the following days, Ethan helped the survivors rebuild. His enhanced abilities allowed him to lift debris, construct shelters, and guide humans to safety. Yet he did not act alone. He taught them, inspired them, and encouraged them to find their own strength. Humans began to adapt, learning to use the land, their intelligence, and courage to create defenses against future threats. Ethan's body continued to change subtly, his alien traits blending seamlessly with his human heart. He had accepted that he would never be the same man who had fallen in New Avalon, but he realized that identity was more than appearance. It was choice, courage, and action. One evening, as the alien sun set in brilliant hues, Ethan walked through the rebuilding city. Children played safely among the ruins, their laughter echoing like music. Families hugged and cried, grateful to be alive. Soldiers trained, learning not just to fight, but to survive and protect. Ethan paused near a small group of children. They stared at him wide-eyed, but not with fear. Their expressions held wonder and admiration. One small boy stepped forward, tugging at his glowing tail. "Are you a hero?" the boy asked. Ethan knelt, bringing his glowing eyes level with the child's. "I am someone who fights to protect people," he said gently. "You all have courage inside you, too. That is what makes humans strong." The boy smiled, and Ethan felt a warmth unlike any power coursing through him. This was the reason he had survived, the reason he had accepted transformation, to protect, inspire, and ensure that humanity endured. Liara appeared silently beside him. "Look at what you have done," she said. "The human spirit is alive, and now it is evolving. You have helped them take the first step toward a new future." Ethan looked at the horizon. The ruins of New Avalon glowed faintly under the alien sun, but life had returned. Hope had returned. And he realized that humanity would never again be the same. They had survived, adapted, and learned that they could rise above even the greatest challenges. "I will keep protecting them," Ethan said, his voice firm. Not just today, not just tomorrow, but as long as I am needed. I may not be fully human anymore, but I am still human in the ways that matter. Liara's tail wrapped around him, glowing brighter. And that is why you will succeed, Ethan. Power is nothing without heart, and you have both. The Zephyrians will test you again, but humanity is ready. And you are the bridge between what was and what can be. Ethan watched the city, feeling a mixture of pride and responsibility. The transformation he had undergone was more than physical. It was a journey of courage, understanding, and the acceptance of change. He realized that survival was not merely about living. It was about growing, adapting, and inspiring others to do the same. As the night deepened, Ethan stood on a high tower, looking at the stars above. He could feel the pulse of the planet beneath him, the rhythm of life all around. He had once been human, fragile and limited, but now he was something more. And yet in his heart he remained human, compassionate, determined, and willing to fight for those who could not fight for themselves. From the shadows, a small group of survivors approached. They had watched him, learned from him, and now followed him willingly. Together they began planning defenses, strategies, and ways to ensure that humanity would never again be caught unprepared. Ethan smiled faintly, seeing the spark of determination in their eyes. Humanity was not just surviving, it was evolving. Liara hovered nearby, her glow casting light across the group. "This is only the beginning," she said. "But today, you have shown what humans can achieve when they embrace courage, change, and hope." Ethan nodded, feeling the weight of her words. He was no longer the man who had fallen on the ruins of New Avalon. He was more than human, stronger, faster, wiser. Yet the essence of humanity, the heart, the will, and the courage remained, and that was the greatest power of all. As he looked at the stars and the city below, Ethan whispered, "I may not be fully human anymore, but I am still me, and together, we will rise." The glowing tail wrapped gently around him, a reminder of the transformation that had saved his life and given him the strength to protect his people. In the quiet of the night, among ruins and rebuilding, a new humanity was born, stronger, wiser, and ready for the challenges that lay ahead. The future was uncertain, the battles far from over, but one truth remained: humanity would endure, and Ethan, with Liara by his side, would ensure it.